Ignition sequence start.
Good morning, and welcome to a look at the activity going on inside the International Space Station Flight Control Room at NASA's Johnson Space Center in Houston. These men and women are just the current team keeping an eye on the station's systems and helping the crew in space with their daily tasks. There's a similar team on duty here every hour of every day. Expedition 65 Commander Aki Hoshide and his American, Russian, and French crewmates have been taking care of station maintenance tasks this week, all while supporting one-of-a-kind science research in the station's lab modules.
Houston Station on Space to Ground.
Welcome to Space to Ground. I'm Kayla LaFrance. From science experiments and in-flight maintenance, the crew on board the space station has been hard at work this week. JAXA astronaut Aki Hoshide donned a biomonitor earlier this week to be a participant in the Canadian Space Agency's vascular aging study. The biomonitor is a wearable technology system designed to look and feel as comfortable as a typical snug t-shirt. But in reality, it is actually monitoring the wearer's heart rate, activity level, and breathing rate. The data gathered from the biomonitor, along with data from ultrasounds and blood tests, will be sent back to researchers as part of the vascular aging experiment, which is the third of a series of scientific experiments that studies the effects of weightlessness on astronauts' blood vessels and hearts on board the International Space Station. The vascular aging study is looking at issues known to pose risks to astronauts' health, like radiation and insulin resistance. Studying the responses of the cardiovascular system in space better equips us to understand how our arteries age here on Earth. On Monday, NASA announced the fourth and final member for the upcoming NASA SpaceX Crew 3 mission to the ISS. NASA astronaut Caleb Barron was selected to serve as a mission specialist for the Crew 3 mission, which is targeted to launch as early as October 23rd. Barron will be joining crew members, NASA astronauts Raja Chari and Tom Marshburn as the mission's commander and pilot respectively, and European Space Agency astronaut Matthias Maurer, who will also serve as a mission specialist. This will be the first spaceflight for Barron, who became a NASA astronaut in January 2020 after completing 2 years of training. This week's question comes from Ashlyn, a 5th grader from New York, who wanted to know, what happens to garbage on the ISS? That is a great question. There is no trash pickup in space, which means that the crew has to store their trash in special bags called jettison stowage bags. After a cargo vehicle arrives at the station, the crew will load it with all of their trash bags, foam cushions, and other items to be removed. These vehicles will depart filled with thousands of pounds of disposable items, ultimately burning up in the atmosphere during re-entry. The NanoRacks Bishop airlock, which was recently installed on station, also has the ability to jettison trash right from the orbiting lab to be burned up in the atmosphere. And that's Space to Ground for this week. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.
One of the best parts of being an astronaut aboard the International Space Station, or so I'm told, is looking out the windows to a living color view of planet Earth. In this new demonstrations episode, astronaut Randy Bresnik discusses the station's role as an Earth monitoring and diagnosis station, while showing some of the amazing images he and his colleagues have captured from 250 miles.
Hello, I'm astronaut Randy Bresnik. Want to know one of the best parts about being an astronaut up in space? Our view of the Earth from the International Space Station is absolutely spectacular. And viewing the Earth from space is a big part of our job. In addition to many other important functions, the International Space Station serves as a global monitoring and diagnosis station where we can conduct observations across the globe, aimed at understanding and resolving environmental issues we face on our home planet. Let's have a look. The space station offers a unique vantage point for observing the Earth's ecosystems with hands-on and automated cameras and image capture equipment. These tools enable astronauts to both observe and explain what they're witnessing in real time. The image capture equipment on the space station also provides input to personnel back on Earth, working to program the station's automated Earth-sensing systems, providing flexibility and an advantage over sensors on unmanned spacecraft and satellites. Scientists and researchers find this especially useful when unexpected natural events such as volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, hurricanes, fires, and other natural disasters like floods occur. Through existing international and interagency partnerships fundamental to the International Space Station, data sharing that can benefit people around the world is facilitated, promoting international collaboration on a range of Earth observation activities. A wide variety of Earth observation equipment can be attached to the space station's exterior, like I did on one of my spacewalks. Several instruments have already been installed, and researchers from around the globe are proposing additional payloads to install. In continuing to use a combination of crew-operated and automated Earth observation payloads, the space station collects crucial data on the global climate, environmental change, and potential hazards to the health of humanity and our home planet. The Window Observational Research Facility, or as we call it, the WRF, provides a highly stable internal mounting platform to hold cameras and sensors. With the WRF, the high-quality optics of the nadir, or the bottom viewing window of the space station, allows us to look straight down onto Earth. Do you want to participate in some of our Earth observation missions? Come join us. Check out the Sally Ride EarthCam website. Go to earthcam.org and follow the instructions to sign up. And have a look at some of the spectacular Earth views from space and see what you can identify. You can also try the activity in the link we provided in the description of this video. Thanks for joining me. See you all next time.
The mission of the International Space Station includes serving as a platform for scientific research, learning how to support the human crew members during long-duration missions away from the safety of Earth, promoting international cooperation, and being a testbed for future technologies we'll need to support our plans to explore farther than before in the years to come.
Making space for technology development. Presented by Science at NASA. The International Space Station, or ISS, is Earth's only orbiting laboratory. That's important because it not only allows us to conduct research that benefits all of us on Earth, it also provides the only microgravity environment in which we can test technologies critical to our deep space exploration in the near and far-term future. Here, engineering models can be validated, and new technologies and systems for future missions can be demonstrated, without risk to crew members. Historically, the Mercury program enabled the Gemini program, which in turn enabled the Apollo program through technology and systems advancements. Today, the space station is giving us a similar experience in long-duration spacecraft operations and serving as a testbed for new technologies and upgraded vehicle systems, which are enabling future missions. Dave Horniak is NASA's ISS Technology Demonstration Research Portfolio Manager. He notes the ISS lets us demonstrate that a technology works as intended in a spacecraft environment. Demonstrations on the space station inform operators and flight crews how the system operates, proves interoperability with other systems, and demonstrates system safety and reliability. There are many technologies and capabilities that need to be developed as we move forward to the Moon and onto Mars. For example, researchers have recently tested a new design of solar array that will be used on the first module for the Deep Space Gateway, our future space station that will serve as a home base for astronaut expeditions to the Moon. Solar arrays in operation right now need to unfold before becoming active. But new designs allow future solar arrays to roll out and also retract. They were tested for strength and durability on the ISS and were designed to be more compact than current rigid panels. NASA's Orion Multipurpose Crew Vehicle is a 4-person exploration craft designed to take astronauts farther in space than anyone has gone before. Its backup navigation system uses a new technology that is optically based. It captures images of the Moon or Earth, and based on their size and angle, an algorithm determines Orion's location. These optics can't be tested on Earth because our atmosphere would distort the images enough to make the algorithm inaccurate. Aboard the ISS, however, the algorithm was confirmed to work properly. A secondary benefit is the system was tested at spacecraft speed, making for a realistic navigation scenario. As people travel deeper into space, they'll need solutions to a variety of safety challenges. For instance, if a fire breaks out, how fast can it grow and spread in a microgravity environment? NASA's Spacecraft Fire Safety, or SAFFIRE program, has already conducted a series of experiments on 3 ISS cargo vehicles to measure flame growth, oxygen use, and combustion products. Results are helping to improve spacecraft fire detection, response and extinguishment, and crew protection. Ultimately, says Hornyak, technology and operations demonstrations occurring on the ISS today are guiding our planning, reducing risk, and providing capabilities to enable future exploration missions. For more inside information about the tech being tested aboard the station, visit www.nasa.gov/ISS-science. For more on the science of space exploration, visit science.nasa.gov.
The work being done on the International Space Station is supporting NASA's next major effort in human spaceflight. The Artemis program is going to return astronauts to the Moon in a few years using the Orion spacecraft, the Space Launch System rocket, and the ground systems that will make those missions possible. Here's a quick look at the latest milestones achieved as we move closer to the first flights of Orion. When those Artemis astronauts explore the surface of the moon, they'll be wearing a brand new spacesuit. Here's the story of the Exploration Extravehicular Mobility Unit, the XEMU, the suit that will let astronauts explore like never before.
A new era of exploration is beginning. NASA is building on its experience in low Earth orbit and preparing to go farther, setting up a base camp in orbit around the moon, known as the Gateway, exploring the surface of the moon like never before, and preparing to one day go to Mars. To accomplish all this, NASA will need a new spacesuit for its astronauts, one that's more flexible, versatile, and durable than any made before. Engineers are now hard at work designing, building, and testing the new suit, making sure it's up to the task for future exploration. Some of the greatest moments in exploration have taken place with a human in a spacesuit. Whether it was a first journey outside the spacecraft or traversing mountainous moonscapes, the spacesuit made it possible. The act of sending a suited human outside the spacecraft is called EVA.
What is an EVA? EVA is an acronym that stands for Extravehicular Activity, which is what most people know as a spacewalk. It's whenever we take astronauts and we let them go outside to do useful work in the vacuum of space.
The spacesuits currently in use for NASA EVAs were designed in the 1970s for space shuttle missions. They have been upgraded over the years for work on the International Space Station and have served NASA well.
In the past 20 years, there are a handful of types of spacewalks that we've done. We've done planned spacewalks for maintenance. As hardware breaks, we can do contingency spacewalks. As technology improves, we can upgrade hardware. Or like with the Hubble Space Telescope, we're actually repairing very sensitive scientific experiments in order to enable science.
Those EVAs took place in microgravity, where astronauts float and need to use their hands to move from place to place. But moonwalkers, working at 1/6 Earth's gravity, will need spacesuits that let them use their hands and feet, walking to destinations and bending and reaching as they explore. For this new type of work, NASA has been testing prototype planetary suits, culminating in a new suit design, the XEMU.
The XEMU is Exploration Extravehicular Activity Mobility Unit. So it's an exploration spacesuit. So it's a spacesuit that you're going to use as we move forward on Gateway missions and on the lunar missions with Artemis. And then we're using all that to test the suits you would want to use to go to Mars in. So eventually you're going to have to be very independent and very confident in your hardware when you go and do a mission that far away from Earth.
One of the most obvious changes in the new spacesuit is the way astronauts get in and out of it. Donning the current suit is a multi-step process of wriggling into the upper torso and then getting help attaching a pair of space pants. The new generation spacesuit features a hatchback, where astronauts simply slide in and out of the one-piece body of the suit. Another big feature of the suit is the way the astronauts are able to move while wearing it. Apollo astronauts learned they had to hop to get around on the moon. The suit design sometimes made it difficult for the astronauts to work.
Up. Okay. We see that one went all the way in. Not quite.
Engineers learned valuable lessons from those Apollo suits. The improved design for the next generation spacesuit will allow astronauts to walk on the moon, not hop. Additionally, astronauts will experience an improved range of motion.
The new suits, the planetary walking suits we're working on now, we really hope to provide improved mobility and comfort along with reduced injury potential. And really, like I said, provide the best tool to the crew member that we can provide. Then we want to be able to provide them the ability to kneel down and pick up a rock, like they're going to want to do in their geology science that they're working on. We want this to be a very reliable and durable suit so they can use it day after day in a dusty environment and not have to do a lot of maintenance with it while they're needing to do their mission. So there's a lot of those kinds of aspects that go into improving the suit that we're going to provide for the lunar missions.
Improved mobility is not the only feature engineers have been working on. The astronauts will also be carrying a special backpack known as the PLIS.
So the PLIS is the Portable Life Support System. It's the backpack on the spacesuit, and it has all of the interesting parts to keep the crew member alive while they're on their spacewalk. So it has oxygen stored as pressurized gas for breathing, pressure regulators that regulate the oxygen pressure inside the spacesuit, and then a ventilation loop and a water loop that we call the thermal loop that provide trace contaminant and carbon dioxide removal from the breathing environment and also cooling for the crew member and the suit onboard avionics and electronic systems.
While the PLIS has been on previous spacesuits, this improved version will offer new technology, greater control of its systems for the astronaut, and longer life for each EVA, allowing more exploration.
The PLIS labs are awesome, super fun places, and we physically assemble the parts to build the life support system, and then we test it. It's our opportunity to find things and fix things before we get it on orbit. We love what we do. We really want to see the system fly and be useful and help a person explore the moon in a more capable manner than they were able to do during Apollo. So it's a great job.
So I want you to perform some isolated joint movement to understand how the suit moves and then be out.
Testing for the new spacesuit continues underwater in the Neutral Buoyancy Lab. Here, the weightless environment of space can be simulated to put the suit through its paces.
So being able to test the suit in the pool and microgravity environments allows us to iterate on our design and make it better and get feedback from astronauts and from other instructors and trainers.
Could you reach all the way across and do the cross switches with your opposite arm?
Oh yeah, it's really easy to get all the switches with my opposite arm. I would rate this as excellent.
Come on. I know, I guess gotta get lower and flatter.
Yeah.
Hold on. Oh my God.
You did it! Very good.
So if this could happen in real life, this is a spectacular translation. Rex and I are very lucky. It is like a brand new spacecraft.
Even has the new smell and everything.
It does. New car smell.
Spacesuits are also tested in the Active Response Gravity Offload System, or ARGOS.
Yeah, so the Argos electronically is able to tune an astronaut exactly to whatever gravity it is that we're practicing that day, whether that's microgravity, lunar gravity, or Martian gravity. The other nice thing about Argos is you're able to get the instructors and the engineers right next to the astronauts as they're working, helping the astronaut figure out a problem as they work through the development of that test for the suit or for a piece of hardware and get that real-time feedback.
Spacesuit hardware is not the only thing being tested on Earth. NASA is looking at human performance as an important factor in designing EVAs and spacesuits.
So related to a spacesuit, a lot of times people think about the actual engineering, the hardware, the different pieces, but I want to look at the EVA scenario from the human really inside the suit and make sure that their performance, both physically, cognitively, is going well. So we want to look at things like physical exertion, cognitive workload, injury risk, and really just trying to make sure that they're not impaired by the EVA system any more than they have to be.
The NASA team uses virtual reality technology, motion capture, and other tools to study what it takes for a human to conduct an EVA.
And what we're able to do is bring actual, no-kidding data to the table that really removes the opinions. That's probably our primary benefit for how we kind of enhance the EVA community is we take a look at this, not from a hardware, not from an operations standpoint first. We look first at the human and then kind of say, what do they need to be able to do to be ready for the job?
All the work on the spacesuit here on Earth is building up to the ultimate test, to fly it in space.
So we're actually building a flight unit of that XEMU, and we're going to launch it to the International Space Station. And we will do an EVA with a current spacesuit, an EMU that we use today, and the XEMU with it. We'll go out in pairs, and we'll have the astronauts working together, one in the old suit and one in the new suit, and we'll test its functionality in a microgravity or a low gravity environment out in the vacuum of space. That will help us test a lot of its systems.
The EVA on the space station will set the stage for the future, when the suit will need to perform a variety of missions beyond low Earth orbit.
Yeah, so a great example is NASA's Gateway. So even though it is in lunar orbit, it's still a microgravity platform, so astronauts would still be floating in space. And so we can use a lot of the lessons we learned from the International Space Station to do spacewalks on the Gateway. It's actually really advantageous to use one spacesuit, both at Gateway and on the lunar surface. So the exploration spacesuit can do both of those things.
For EVAs on the moon, the new spacesuit will give astronauts unprecedented abilities as they explore the lunar surface.
Really, this is the first time we're trying to bring a suit that's optimized for human performance and optimized for lunar exploration so that you can actually bend down, interact with the ground, so that you're going to have the visibility that you need, the mobility that you need to accomplish these tasks.
This new suit will allow us the flexibility to really do exploration. Get down on the surface and send geologists to the surface and really let them act like geologists in a spacesuit. This is the first time in history that a suit like that will have been created, and it's really exciting to be part of that. To do what NASA was meant to do, and that is to do exploration. And this suit will really help enable the agency go do exploration.
Well, everyone in my generation wasn't alive the first time we went to the moon, and we want to do it again, and we want to do it better. We want to go do more science, we want to stay longer, we want to get more out of it, and we have the technology to do it now. So we're really excited about it.
With its new technology, new design, greater mobility, and greater versatility in how it can be used, NASA's new spacewalking suit is truly tailored for the next generation of space explorers.
If you want another look at any of the stories you saw today, you can always find them on YouTube and Facebook, where you'll also find lots of other great features on a wide variety of NASA topics. So be sure to look around. Now, if you're looking for good conversation about human spaceflight, check out Houston We Have a Podcast, our weekly show talking to folks involved in all areas of space exploration. Today, Gary Jordan explores the job of the Increment Training Integrators. That means the people who schedule an astronaut's life when that astronaut is in training for a spaceflight. And it's a lot more than you may think. Go to nasa.gov/podcasts for this week's episode, all the previous episodes too, and the full library of all NASA podcasts, which are also on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and SoundCloud.